Hey guys, this is Eileen, and I just wanted to show you what I've been doing. I've been walking down memory lane, and this is way back, 86 was when I moved away from here. So I lived in this block, probably right about here. I lived there from what, 74, 75. I have no idea when I started living there, because that was when I was born. So let's just say 1974 I was born. And in 1986 I left and we moved to Winnipeg. Anyway, so there's a house, let's say right here. And then if we go up, in this big green area is called Crescent Park. And I used to play in there all the time. And I would go sledding in the winter, and in the summer I would go to the various little nooks and crannies. And I remember collecting bottle caps when I was young, like super young. Maybe 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. I remember collecting bottle caps. I remember they were way lots of little playgrounds in little different areas. As you can see, it's a really big park. So, and there's a school right here, and that was the first school I went to from kindergarten all the way to grade 5. And then these were tennis courts, and then behind the tennis courts somewhere's over here. Let's see if I can find it. Nope, it doesn't say anything on here, but right along here there was an old folks home, and every single Christmas we would go over there from kindergarten all the way until grade 5. I would go and visit these nice people and sing Christmas carols with them, with my school, or my class. And yeah, so this school, I remember, I'm not sure what grade it was in, but right before summer came one year, we sat down and watched The Dark Crystal. That movie made such an impression on me. I can't even describe it. Anyway, so that was the first time I ever saw The Dark Crystal, and it was the most fabulous movie ever in my mind. And then, if we go down, there's a library here that I went to study, to make a report on orcas and killer whales. And then, let's think, where did you go? Dude, maybe it's more up here. No. Well, I can't really identify it just now, but somewhere down in here, see, can you see it? Somewhere's in here. There used to be a place called Spud's, and it's a restaurant, and we used to eat there all the time. My aunt and my grandmother, and we would go there, and I would be in my Sunday finest, so I would be wearing gloves because I was prissy. And one time my Aunt Sharon was shaking those little creamers we had for her coffee. She was shaking it and she cracked it open, I believe, and it sprayed all over my prissy little face. So she had a really good chuckle over that. And even to this day, she still remembers the look on my face. A horror. And it's like, Sharon, oh my God. Anyway, I remember them laughing hysterically at me because I had such a look of horror on my face when I was younger. Anyway, so that was Spud's. That's the memory I had of Spud's, the restaurant. The other memory I have is there used to be like, it was kind of like a grocery store, I guess, but it seemed really small. Anyway, so back in the day, before they had, tabs, when you, like, pull the tabs on the pop, and the pop would crack open, and you'd hear that psst and satisfying bubbling noise. Well, before the tab, there used to be 2 buttons, and so if, let's say, circle, let's see if I can find it. Okay, so we have a normal everyday tab, and instead of having the tab, you'd have one hole there and then a bigger hole here. And what you would do is you would pop the little hole, and then you would push the big one down. So there's 2 holes, and you push them. One was to drink out of, and the other one was to let air in, so it would not gurgle all over your front and spill everywhere. And anyway, so that's a memory I had of that grocery store, is whenever I bought pop, there would be 2 holes that you would have to push in, and then in order to get to the pop. So that's Crescent Park. And then I would say, let's think, right about here, there used to be like a little corner store, and way back also in the day, I would have my very favorite candy would be the mint Oreo bar, which you guys still probably have floating around somewhere. And then the other thing that you would have is, let's have a think here. I would have these kind of like coffins, like little plastic coffins. They weren't that big, they were like yay big. And then what would happen is you would crack open the coffin, you lift the lid, and inside would be like 2 or 3 skeletons. But they would be broken up, so you'd have like a little rib cage, and then like 2 arms and 2 legs and a head, and you would be able to put them together, and and then you could eat them. And the other one that we had was garbage cans, and they would have like, again, they would be little garbage cans, and then you would flip the garbage can lid up, and inside would be like a fish skeleton and crushed cans of pop, and all in like hard candy, you know, those sugar candies, kind of like those hearts that they have now. So those were my favorite ones. And then right here, I don't know if you can see that, but right there, it used to be where I would have brownies. So I would go to school, and then I'd wear my brownie uniform. Then I would walk a million years. It always seemed like a million years. Then you would go into the bottom of the church, and in the basement I would have brownies. And brownies was really fun. It was Girl Guides I couldn't stand, but I spent, I think, 3 years in brownies. That was fun. Camping. I remember one camping trip we had. There was a giant hill and a trail that you would walk in, but it had rained so much, because this is BC. It rained so much that it created a little landslide, and every single one of us brownies used that landslide as an actual slide. You would slide down the hill and then trudge back up again, slide down the hill and then trudge back up again. I can tell you that my mother, actually, was really not impressed with my jeans. All my clothes came back like 1,000 pounds of mud. It was really fun, but it was horrible to the washing machine. So that is the brownie memory that I had there. And then, let's see, I also remember right across the street, right here, there used to be a girl who had horses. And one of the, I think her name was Bobby Joe. And Bobby Joe was eating an apple with me. We were standing on the sidewalk, right about there, talking. And she was eating an apple. And then she ate the core of it, and she told me that the seeds were good for you. And I never did believe her, because I always thought that they would crack open and grow apple trees in your stomach if you ate the seeds. Same thing with watermelons. I don't remember if you ever heard that story when you were a kid, is that they would grow plants in your stomach. Of course, it's all bull-tweet, but still. I remember talking to Bobby Joe about that. And then I would say, over here, give or take, maybe over here a little bit more. But I remember my very first Halloween party that I went to. I think I went as a princess, but the most impressionable thing is that the whole house was totally decorated with Halloween items. And I remember they had all sorts of decorations hanging out on the trees, on the house. I remember they had music and sound effects, and I remember cobwebs, and I remember sparklers. I remember sparklers the most because I could, when I was writing, I was swinging it around, and I remember seeing tracers. And if you ever seen sparklers in the dark, and you do kind of like this motion, then you'll see a little light that kind of follows it, kind of like a... Anyway, so that's my favorite memory of Halloween. And then also, somewheres over here was a friend of mine who lived there, and his name was Owen, if I remember correctly. And he had a pool table in his basement. And I'll never forget. I always thought that was the craziest thing ever, is having a pool table in your basement. And I remember we weren't allowed to play with it because, you know, we were too little. But I remember seeing it in his basement. And then also down the street, there was another girl whose name I cannot remember. It's been so long. But she had all the records for Disney, the read-along records, like the little short playing record. And those, like, she had The Rescuer, she had a few of them. I cannot remember all of them, but I remember spending hours and hours and hours with her just listening to these records. So, yeah. So this is where I used to live. And this is Surrey, BC. I, of course, don't live there now, but it was fun when I had a good, some really nice memories. I don't know why I was thinking about the past today, but I was. And so I thought I would share those memories with you. And, yeah. And my very favorite place in the whole entire world is this Crescent Park. And I remember having sports days. I remember having, like, from school, we would have something called sports day, and we would, like, have a million different kinds of races, and I remember winning ribbons, and I remember, you know, having an absolute blast. School! I hated school. I always hated school, though. But I had some good friends in elementary school. I remember my next door neighbors, they were the nuns on one side, and then it was us, and then on the other side it was the Atwoods, and then right beside them was a really a nice old lady. Her name was Mrs. Davies, and she always had cookies, but she didn't like it when we played in our backyard. We would just take over the entire backyard, and we would play. Anyway, so that's me. And I don't know, am I in frame, in focus here? Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about the last little while, and I hope you enjoyed these stories, because it was fun thinking about them and telling them to you. And I guess I'll talk to you all later, and I hope you had a good American Thanksgiving, and you're all full of turkey and leftovers and pumpkin pie and stuff. I am on my way to a Christmas party, which is why I have a face on, and it's all made up, and I have lipstick and stuff. You're not used to seeing that. Yeah, I think that's it. And I hope you enjoyed my little stories and a trip down memory lane, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.